Hey everyone, this is Kristin Sherry. Thanks for joining me again for another episode of Maximize 365, a year of actionable tips to transform your life. So today we're going to talk about indecisiveness, and this particular entry is in the intellectual wellness section of the health and wellness chapter. So the quote today comes from Marie Beynon Lyons-Ray and says, "It is better to make a wrong decision than build up a habit of indecision. If you're wallowing in indecision, you certainly can't act, and action is the basis of success." There is so much in that quote that I love. Action is the basis of success. And I understand the reason why some people struggle with this indecision. There are a number of personality factors behind that, as well as our natural talents and strengths might orient us towards deliberative thinking, analytical thinking, being careful. We might be very detail oriented. We might be perfectionists. Not everyone is indecisive for the same reason. Some of us are just really wired to have a more engineering, logical mindset. So we want to work through how can we be sure and all of the facts and that sort of thing. Some people are indecisive because they're fearful. Some people are indecisive because they lack confidence. So if you struggle with indecision, it's a good idea to start to think about the root cause of why you tend to be indecisive. But I really like this rule of thumb that Colin Powell came up with for making hard decisions. And he says every time you face a tough decision, you should have no less than 40% and no more than 70% of the information you need to make the decision. So if you make a decision with less than 40% of the information, you're really shooting from the hip if you only have 10% of your information, and you will make too many mistakes. But if you wait to get over 70% of the information, opportunity often has passed. And not only that, but you might have people downstream who are waiting on your decision, and now you're creating problems for those people who need your decision. So Powell's rule supports the fact that intuition separates great leaders from average ones. And intuition allows us to make tough decisions well, but many of us ignore our gut instincts. And we actually have an entry in the book about tapping into your intuition. So I'll be doing a video on that in the future, or you can grab a copy of the book if you don't want to wait and read ahead. So do you desire 100% certainty that your decisions are right? Because absolute certainty is unrealistic. It's just not going to happen. And I want you to think about, once you have 70% of the information, the trajectory is probably not going to shift. So you can kind of plot out where things are headed with the information that you have, and you're not likely going to have a radical shift in the data at that point. So that's why you can be pretty confident in the decision. So your intuition combined with 70% of the information constitutes an educated decision. You will never have full certainty, so the best you can hope for is an educated decision. So, as I said, mathematically speaking, a decision should not need to change course after acquiring 70% of the information. So here's the idea for action, and I'm going to have you flip things. I love to help people flip their perspective and look at something from another point of view or the other side of the same coin. So I want you to write the consequences of indecisiveness the next time you're making a decision. So seeing the outcomes might help you move forward. And you can also reflect on times that you waited to make a decision. And for example, you might have been trying to get the best flight price, and you weren't sure if you wanted to book the flight, and then you had indecision around that, and then the flight went up $150 or something. So what are consequences of indecision in the next decision you're making? And look historically at some of the consequences that you faced from indecision. So seeing the outcomes might help you move forward. And if you're still stuck, flip a coin. I know that sounds ridiculous to say, but perhaps the choices aren't materially that different, which is why you can't choose. Also, I like to do a little trick where I write something on a piece of paper, this decision, that decision, and then I have someone pick a hand behind my back, and I open and read the one, and what's my gut reaction to that? Am I disappointed or am I glad? That gut reaction helps you tap into your intuition to know if you really had a subconscious preference, but you just weren't tapping into that place of intuition and into your subconscious. So do you struggle with indecision, and what do you think about this idea for action? And I'd love to hear your thoughts about times that you allowed indecision to creep in and perhaps it caused a consequence or a regret. So share with me in the comments. Take care.